My guest today, we got history, man. A lot of history. I go way back with this young man. A lot of people call him a lot of different names, but I personally call him Coach. Coach Osborne. Welcome to the show. Okay, welcome to the Look Like Somebody podcast. I'm your host, Ricky C. Simmons. Hey, look, man, we got a special show for you today, and I just want y'all to know that this guest I have today, I'm just going to jump right in with him. First, I want to ask you guys to please hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get this message out to as many people as possible. My guest today, we got history, man. A lot of history. I go way back with this young man. A lot of people call him a lot of different names, but I personally call him Coach. Coach Osborne, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ricky. It's good to be on with you.
Well, Coach, I told quite a few of my former teammates, your former players, that you were going to be on today. So they got questions that they done sent me to ask you. So we'll get to those eventually. But I want to start off by saying, Dennis, oh gosh, what's Dennis' last name? Gosh, Crawford. Dennis Crawford. He said he had the opportunity to sit across from you and interview you about a book for the '83 Huskers. And he just wanted me to tell you that he really appreciates you and he thinks so highly of you. So I'm going to say thank you on behalf of Dennis Crawford.
Thank you.
Now, Coach, now I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to give me your honest opinion. First, I got to start off by saying Irvin Flowers said you are much clearer in his head now at 62 than it was at 17 to 21. So I thought that was kind of funny. And Mike Rozier just wanted to say thank you for everything you did for him and for all of us actually. And I think that goes from me as well. But here's where the first question is from Rodney Lewis. Rodney Lewis wants to know, what's your take on the current climate of college sports today with the N.I.L, transfer portal, and just the loyalty of the athletes in general?
Well, Ricky, I think some of the really good things about athletics was people in college education for the most part. I think we had 96% of our players who graduated from college. And I think with all the transferring, that's certainly been jeopardized because you have players now, they've gone to 3, sometimes even 4 different schools in 3 or 4 years. And obviously, it's hard to have continuity academic program. The second thing is with athletics, I think, always taught people to try to handle adversity. If you weren't starting, if they weren't going quite your way, you had to figure out a way to persevere through it. And now the answer is simply, if you're not playing or if you're not getting enough money, you immediately transfer. So there's not a whole lot of tenacity. And I think that isn't going to continue. And then the more thing that you did mention, loyalty, in that I think most people who have done athletes and athletics have tried to be loyal to their school, to their program, and there isn't much loyalty right now. So I think a lot of the so-called benefits of athletics in Islam, other than financial, are certainly jeopardized. And we'll see, like today, it's mostly about money, and money kind of comes and goes. But the way of things are more permanent.
Coach, I just got to say this. It's so much different than when I was playing. And I understand that change is inevitable. I get that. It's just right now, it's just feeling like to me, I'm still trying to relearn a new way of doing things. I mean, right down to just to, I was going to ask you myself about, I understand we're not having a spring game this year. So that means there must be a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with players being tampered with or whatever. What is your take on that?
Well, it's my understanding that Matt Rule was concerned about playing a spring game where people could watch it and decide some player was really great or some player wasn't so good. And that would provide information for tampering and the people trying to keep players away. And I think that's kind of tragic where you can't even have a spring game without people learning about your players and then going after it. So anyway, I understand his reasoning, but it is somewhat emblematic of the time we're living in right now and how much things have changed. The good thing about spring game was we'd usually have 60, 70,000 people there. And a lot of those were people who could not afford the regular season ticket. And they bring their kids. A lot of those kids eventually became fans and season ticket holders. And so the Lunatic Spring game, I think, probably is not helpful in terms of the long-term sustainability of the program.
Well, Coach, I guess I'm just old school, and I know that change is a big part of athletics. I'm not in denial of that. I just think that, you know, I want the program to be successful, and whatever that looks like, whatever they feel they need to do to make it successful, I'm okay with that. It's just, I guess it's just like anything else. I mean, change is difficult sometimes, and you've got this map in your head of how you think it should be, and when you see the changes that they're making, it's not that they're wrong and I'm right. It's just different. So we just all have to adjust, I guess.
Right.
You know.
And the couple of the concerns I had, Ricky, that people often say, well, now it's just like professional football. But if you think about it, professional football, you have contracts.
Yeah.
Well, pretty sure who's going to be back next year because they're under contract. And right now, the transfer portal, you have no idea who's coming back and who isn't. And then the other thing is that there's a salary cap in professional football. So no team can exceed that salary cap. Everybody's on the same level financially. But right now, we have some teams that have a huge amount of money and they can pretty much buy a pretty good team. And there are other teams who don't have that much money. And so they're sitting handicapped. So the playing field is not very level. And I think eventually that's going to be a concern, particularly for fans and for people in general.
Well, Coach, here, I also want to talk to you briefly. I know how you are when it comes to accepting compliments. That's not one of your favorite things to do because you feel like it's just something that you do. But I just want to take a moment to say thank you for what you personally done for me. I know we've had this conversation before, and you've always downplayed it like it was no big deal. But when my life was in a very, very, very bad place, you wrote a letter to me while I was incarcerated, and it literally changed my life. And I've told you this, but every time I tell you, you do the same thing. You say, "Well, it was just a letter, Ricky. It wasn't. I didn't do that much." Well, Coach, I'm putting it on public record that it was more than just a letter. It actually saved my life because I was in such a dark place when I received that letter that I was getting ready to do something that would have probably taken away my ability to be free again. So that's why I want you to know how much I appreciate you and I appreciate that letter. And I think the timing of it was perfect because I had just about reached the end of my rope and I was starting to think thoughts that weren't positive at all. And that letter came on that day, and it basically it just redirected my whole life. And I just want to make that publicly known and give you credit for that because at the time I was still grieving the loss of my parents. And I went all the way back to when I was in high school, and I remember you talking to my parents, and you guys had some conversations that I wasn't a part of, but one of them was that you would look after me, and you actually did that, and you did it much later than I thought you would. I mean, I thought you meant you look after me while I was just in college. I didn't know that you was going to follow me for the rest of my life. And that letter came 20 years after I played for you. So I just want you to know, man, that means the world to me. I know how you're gonna take that, but I just wanted to put it on public record, man. I appreciate you for writing me that letter.
Well, thank you, Ricky. And, the main thing was when the letter impacted you, and you could have run with it either way. And the thing that I'm proud of is the person we've become because you mentioned the in bad place and you made the changes in life which you needed to make. And you've had a very positive influence on lots of other people. I'd say who've also been in that same situation. And so you work with people and they're involved with drugs and alcohol. It's been pretty remarkable. And sometimes former players, people who are kind of down and out, can relate better to somebody who's already been there than somebody who hasn't been. And I think your testimony has been very powerful, and you've been able to accomplish a lot of good things since that way with your life. And I want to thank you for that because you're sometimes going to be somebody who I know has some problems, particularly with substance abuse. I've referred them to you. And I know you've made a difference in their lives. And so I appreciate that very much.
Well, I will say it like this to you, Coach. It helped when I first got released from prison. You were still the AD at Nebraska at the time, and I came to see you to thank you for that letter. And I had a favor to ask of you, and I remember you saying, "Well, let me hear what you're thinking." And I told you my plan, and you thought it was a good plan. And I said, and you asked me, "What did I need from you?" I said, "Well, I have no credibility, Coach. My word doesn't have any value because everybody is looking at my past and they're judging me on it." And I remember you saying, "Well, I'll tell you what you do. You go out and you do what you need to do. And whenever somebody asks who's backing you, you said, give them my number." And I told you I would give them your secretary's number. I wouldn't give them your number, but I would let them reach out to your secretary. And I'll be honest with you, that started what is now a 15-year and counting speaking business. And I can't thank you enough for that because a lot of people was on the fence on whether they want to hire me. And then they would ask that magic question, well, who's backing you? And when I said, well, I only got one reference, his name is Coach Tom Osborne, then they just started asking me what's my availability and what my price was.
Well, I'm just glad I could help.
Yeah.
And
Well, did more
the trouble was your only reference, but I did the best I could for you. And as I said, you carried the ball. And so you made some changes, and I think that's been very significant.
well, Coach, I just want to make sure I got it on record, telling you personally. I mean, I know I've told you privately, but I wanted to tell you publicly because a lot of times people go out of their way, and I know you have went out of your way to help a lot of people, and it came back to haunt you, but you never quit helping people. And I just want you to know that I'm one person that's never going to let you down because I got that much respect for you as a man and as a person because you did not have to do what you did. And a lot of people, they they won't talk about that, but they'll talk about the ones that you tried to help that maybe didn't make it or didn't have any success. So I just want to put it on the record that I am very appreciative and I will always be appreciative of what you've done for me.
Well, thank you, Ricky. And sometimes a letter that you write doesn't seem very important and turn out to be important. And I guess that's kind of the lesson for everybody. Sometimes little things that seem little to you make a big difference to somebody else. And I'm just glad it was able to help. And as I said, the thing that's really been important is that you have made the changes in your life. And I know that other people that you've known back in the previous days have looked at your life now, seen the changes, and made a difference in their life. And it's been pretty powerful.
Well, again, Coach, I just want to say thank you. I got more questions for you, Coach. And the next question I have for you is what do you think about these changes that they're making in the stadium? Like, I think if I heard correctly, they're going to be serving alcohol in the stadium. What is your take on that?
Well, I don't want to be crossways with the Board of Regents and so on, but the thing about the stadium is that we probably had better attendance, more sellouts than any other program in the country, and that was done without alcohol. And so part of the reason for the loyalty of the fans, I think, was that they could bring their families and feel good about it. And all of the kids grow up to be fans. And so I guess I would interject a note of caution because it was a very family place. You treated their opponents with pretty good respect. I don't remember a lot of bullying and problems to the opposing teams and their fans. And I just really hope that doesn't change because having gotten to some NFL games, pro games, where we can only walk all, I'm seeing the difference in behavior. And the old folks are the best. Don't, as you can imagine, I was simply I would be caution people in regard to doing it. And there are some places, I think, that have tried to do reverse course after having experience with the same bar. And so we'll see what happens. But I'm concerned about it. I don't think as you want.
Well, Coach, I also want to know, I've noticed just from the little bit of information I've been able to get, a lot of coaches are having a difficult time being a coach in today's culture versus uh, before the transfer portal and N.I.L. and all that. I just, I was just kind of curious to know if you had to coach at a time like now, how difficult would that be for you?
Well, I think that coaching has become much more difficult because it used to be you recruited mostly high school players,
Mm-hmm.
and now much of recruiting is recruiting kids to transfer in for your school. And then the other thing that's happening is that you don't just keep people coming in, you're having to recruit your own players to stay. And and so I think that it's really almost 24-hour a day, 365 day a year proposition. You don't have a free season. Maybe going to spring ball, maybe going to the summer, but year round. And it has to be pretty worrying on coaches. And you can use 6 or 7 of your best players, all of a sudden you're a different team. Well, you can get 6 or 7 of the right transfer ban, and all of a sudden you're a different team. I think the volatility in college athletics would be much greater. When we used to recruit, you build a team, and then you had some toppings. They'd still be pretty good. And now I think the variability is going to be pretty remarkable. And you saw people like Nick Saban getting out, and I think many coaches have found it to be pretty wary. So I think people need to be somewhat understanding of coaches and what they're going through right now.
Coach, I was going to ask you this. When it seems like to me that it's kind of like the question that Rodney Lewis had, the loyalty of the players. There was a time when if you weren't playing, you just worked harder to try and beat somebody out. It seems like to me now it's easier if you're not where you want to be on the depth chart, you can just transfer to a different school. And I think that that's a big difference that I see from now when we were playing back in the '80s. It was a lot different.
One of the, I mentioned one of the good things about athletics, and they were persevering through challenges and difficult times. And people learn tenacity. And from the players, when I talked to today that didn't play a whole lot in Nebraska, they're walk-ons or whatever, and they've done well with their lives, done well in business, and often they refer back to both days as being very formative. And right now, you don't see many people persevering through hardship. And so that's one of the, with a lesson from athletics that I could cutting it out the window right now because it's simply when things get tough, people feel want to go something else. And then the real tragedy is sometimes people find that somewhere else wasn't really better than where they were. And a lot of kids are like, maybe up on him, somewhat of a downward spiral because
I'll say it this way, Coach. I am a huge Nebraska fan, like I know you are as well, and I want them to have success. But I got to be honest. I'm glad I played when I played. You know, I know the money aspect looks good, but a lot of times, along with the money, it can bring some extra problems that you wouldn't normally have if you didn't have it. Sometimes we done got into this me, and this instant society is what I call it. And I think money, I know money is needed. I get that, but I don't know, maybe a cap on it, how much a person can make, like you said earlier. I mean, maybe that's something we could do, or they could do as a NCAA, because I just think going forward, if you don't put some kind of boundaries or some type of restraints on how much, I mean, there probably won't be a need to play sports in the pros because you'll make enough money in college where you don't have to go pro.
right. Well, one thing I think is kind of encouraging to me, Ricky, is that the Big Ten and the Southeast Conference combined control most of the major league football playing school. And we are in agreement. They are talking. And I'm hoping that maybe those two conferences can get together and establish some guidelines that make sense. Because the NCAA seems to be either powerless or unwilling to fit into the gap. And some guidelines have to be set. And I think one of the fans were somewhat disenchanted with what we're seeing. So we'll see what happens. And remember, many years ago, Georgia and Oklahoma sued the NCAA for the right to control football. And they won the suit. They formed the College Football Association. So the College Football Association existed somewhat separate from the NCAA. And I think it was very powerful in what it did for the football. And maybe something like that will happen because I think the current situation of followed was somewhat unsustainable. Simply because there were going to be haves and have-nots. We're all able to some of that. And then it's really an extreme debate. And I think sometimes these guys are making the money, a couple 100,000 or whatever, that we just juxtapose that against the college education and the total experience of being at one school for a period of time of the battle for loyalty. You may find that you can get ahead with college degree and some good principles in the boat to making a few 100,000. That sounds like a huge amount of money, but I can't define what did last labor. And so anyway, we're certainly in a state of transition right now, and I guess I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, well, that makes two of us, Coach. I want to ask you about what do you think about the college playoff system?
Well, I was on the college football playoff committee when it first started, and remember they had 4 teams that they were selecting, and the concern I had right now is that they've expanded to 12 teams. If you think about it, you play 12 games in the regular season, and you say if you have a conference championship of 13, and then they get from 12 down to 2 teams for the final game, adding about 4 games to the schedule. You're talking maybe 16, 17 games. And you know, football is a pretty rough game. And so in professional athletes, they have the weight of that. But if you get two guys hurt at one position, you can simply be on the phone and call somebody in. But you don't have that in college football. So you could start the playoff, and by the end of that playoff, you may be a totally different thing if you read 4 or 5 chiefs in it. And so it's an awful lot of games. The fact that you love the result up. And that's the amazing stuff I have. And again, I think the driver allow more teams, more dollars, and more television revenue. But it may not be in the best interest of players. Now we saw that probably get a 4-team playoff. Somewhere in that 4-team, you probably have the best team in the country. If you did your homework, you know, the group of schedule, what everybody did. I felt that when we got the committee, we were able to come up with the best team to be in, and we do the best team.
Coach, I had another question that I was thinking I wanted your take on, and that is when you think back on just your coaching career alone. I mean, Coach, you 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 had a very very extensive career. Uh, I think that, and this is just me personally, I want to get your take on the 80s because we know the 70, 71 teams, the 94, 95, 97 teams, they're well documented. But I'd like to get your take on the 80s teams because I thought you had quite a few good teams in the 80s as well.
Well, I agree with you here on those teams. So we agree. But in 82, it's kind of interesting because we went back and played Penn State and on their home field. And we joined critical play with AP pass. And it was a third down play or something. And the guy was obviously yard and a half on the back and split it, caught it. That made rule look complete. And then they pass the end zone, and we'll fight the ball, get off the ground. They follow the press down, and we ended up losing that game by, I think, 4 points. And then we Penn State played Alabama in that same year, and they got beat by about 3 touchdowns. And we moved ahead of them in the poll. And then at the end of the season, Penn State was playing Notre Dame. And of course, that has a lot of glamour to it. But Notre Dame was 500 that year, one of the great teams. And so the kettle guy on media and said, I just think if we beat Notre Dame, we'd be number one. And so we beat Notre Dame, and we won our last game. And so they moved ahead of us in their national anthem. And we go, that's against Joe. Joe and I were really good friends. And they had a good team that year. But the whole thing kind of slipped through his fingers. And then, of course, in '83, Ron Bubba with team. '83, we went down and we were undefeated. We had probably made more touchdowns with their offense than most any time in a long time. And and dug ourselves in a hole with Miami on the home field. And we crawled back into the game. And at the end, we called for a 2-point play to win. And the guy covering Irving Fryer, all of a sudden saw what was happening. We had halfback go to 5. They came off of her game. I knew they'd be man to man. And maybe the halfback could be open on the cloud. And the guy came off of her game and bolts to the ball, got a fingertip on it. And that was the end of the 2-point play. And so they leave the game. And I think there were a lot of people upset with me because they picked the point and maybe won the national championship. I guess what was going through my head, I always thought, but then anybody settles for a pie. When we voted for the college football, maybe it will be the year that some years that some of the time I wouldn't go for them, the national championship. And I thought we were kind of win. And I thought we got played for the work. And unfortunately, this picture kept short. So those really good team, 82, 83. And it was tragic that at least one of those years we didn't win the championship. But I was never concerned about trophies. More concerned about how well we played. Well, we played well, but for you. And those are teams that were at the very top level. And you were part of that.
Well, Coach, I still stand by the 2-point conversion. I personally did not go to Miami to do. I wanted to win. So, for what it's worth, I'm still standing by that, and I'm very proud to be a part of that team because to be 12-0, number one team in the nation for 12 straight weeks, and we were beating people pretty good the whole season, with the exception of, I think, the Oklahoma State game. And then you kind of had to get on us a little bit in the Colorado game, but we managed to be 12-0. And when you're the number one team in the nation for 12 and straight games, you know you're getting everybody's best shot. And we took everybody's best shot. And like I say, even in Miami, when we fell back a little bit, we did figure out a way to claw our way back in it. And I admire the fact that it took you no time at all to decide to go for 2 because we just didn't go down there to tie. I mean, we were 12-0. Why would you go for a tie? Now, a lot of people disagree with me on that, and that's fine. That's not even something that I'm concerned about. I hold my head up high when it comes to the '83 season because I know that we played the game the way it was supposed to be played, and we did what most winners do. We went for the win.
Now, I'm glad I got to your vote. There's some people didn't agree. But this is what I thought we had to do, you know. Getting in these little vehicles.
Well, Coach, I just, again, I'm just very honored that you're taking time to talk to me right now and do the show because I know you're a busy man. But I want to switch gears a little bit here, and I want you to tell us about how did teammates come about, and just give us the story about teammates.
Okay, well, I'll try to make this fairly brief, Ricky. But over here, the coaching I saw a lot of changes. Back when I first started in the '60s, and almost all of our players had both biological parents. And time went on, that began to change, and coaching a lot more guys who have only one parent, and some have no parent. And we had these things that changed. And then, of course, the issue with internet, uh, understanding and the way the segment produced, made life more complicated for kids. And one day it was kind of on a whim. I got up and played with a football team in 1991. I said, one of you guys, we won the series of mentors who seventh grade board and like it. And then 22 hands went up, and Will Shields was on those, and other guys. And then so we went to the public school, and they said, yeah, we got the play with you. So we ended up the 22 player match, the 22 seventh grade boy. And we had no idea what we were doing, and they were playing it on. We found that all the kids graduated, and some of them were probably not on track to graduate. And we found that I think 18 of the 22 went to college. And it was really something to us. And we expanded the program. Today we're mentoring around 10,000 kids in 5 states. And we learned a lot about nursing. And it's 1-to-1, one day a week, and then the school. And we like it in the school because in the school setting, they're relatively safe. And so we've never had, we've mentioned that up to 30,000 killed to date. And we've never had an incident or incident of been harmed, like I mentioned. And all that has to the school there and doing the level. Other than the due diligence on the mentors and training the mentors. Anyway, and that's kind of where I spend my time in now.
Coach, I just while you were talking about teammates, I had a flashback memory. I don't know if you remember this, but you've had so many teams you've had to deal with over the years. But we had this thing, uh, my senior year, the '83 season. You would make all of us after practice before we went lift weights. You made us run 2 laps around the field, and you actually ran with us. And I vividly remember you running, and you lapped me and Irvin Fry. And you didn't say nothing when you lapped us the first time, but I think when Dave Remington lapped us, you came back around, you never looked at us, but you just slowed down and you asked a question. And your question was, I don't understand how two of my fastest guys on the team were getting lapped by Dave Remington. And you took back off running again. So I never forgot that.
Well, you guys are better at 40 yards than you were at 2 miles. But you and Irving were, let's say you were pacing yourself, but you're pacing yourself a little bit too much.
I think we were just a little bit above a walk. But you know what, Coach? I I always say this when I go out and I go around the country speaking. I always tell people that when you came to little old Greenville, Texas, to do the recruiting, with you and Coach Pettibone, I didn't really think Nebraska was where I wanted to go, and I was kind of dead set against Nebraska. But I got to give you credit. You didn't really recruit me; you recruited my parents. And once my dad was sold, it was a no-brainer where I was going. But now that I got hindsight, I can say, and I do admit to this, it was the best decision to come to Nebraska that I never made.
Mhm. Well, your dad was a school administrator, and your mom was a good person. And I really enjoyed your family. And I'm glad you listened to your dad because you want to go to Oklahoma. I knew what you were thinking, Doc. So anyway, in the long run, it worked out for both of us.
Yes, it did. And Coach, I mean, you know, I can't even begin to name all the accomplishments you've had over your lifetime, but I just, just a couple of them that stand out is how many victories you had as a head coach, and for how many years you were always in the running. Also, I look at all the ups and downs that you had to deal with year in and year out, whether it be the media, the fans, or whatever. And I got to give a special shout out to your wife as well, because she was she sacrificed a lot of time with you just so that you could help us. So I'm eternally grateful for that as well. And I mean, you've just been a very, very special man to me, and you still continue to be. And I can't thank you enough, man. And I just want to do it while I can, because life is not promised to none of us. And I just, like I say, I really, really respect you. And a lot of my teammates have the same feelings. I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of people, not just of my own, but a lot of guys. I'm kind of like the one person that I think I got just about everybody's phone number that I played with, and I'm in constant contact with them. They all told me when I told them I was going to have you on my show. They all wanted to make sure that you knew that they appreciate you, and they still got a problem with all them laps we had to run, but other than that, they really, really like the fact that you were our coach.
Well, we've all slowed down. I don't ride very laps anymore. So you tell them that I care about them. And I'm sorry I was so rough on them. That we all survived. And the relationship, we really the most important thing about coaching because those relationships and the trophies and the watches and those things don't last very long. But the relationship we it was a good thing to do, and I still hear from one of those guys, and when you talk to me, give my regard for you.
Will do, Coach. Will do. Uh, Coach, I guess we're getting close to wrapping this thing up. But what I want to ask you about before I forget is, can you tell me what it was like? Because you did after coaching, you went into the political arena for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how long you stayed there?
Well, I, we got to the third district of Nebraska. This my name was Bill Barrett, and he retired. And when I got when coaching, I told Frank, so I go so long, and the time came, and okay, took over, and I saw I had quite a bit of energy, and I thought, well, maybe we could do something else that would be somewhat meaningful, and went on to the position of congressman of the third district. The fencing series would go back to Washington, usually on a Monday or Tuesday, and come back on the Thursday or Friday, and with that on a time there. And I think there's really good things about it because you could do some things for people on your street that we couldn't do any place else. And so I looked about this with been affected. But I'd say also it was a little bit at times welcoming and discouraging because we saw how many people were kind of interested in their own advancement and maybe not quite as dedicated to the people I said. Now, there were exceptions to that. I remember one guy I knew, his name was Robin Faze, and Robin was a good person. And a vote came up that was going to be unpopular in his district, but he thought it was the right thing to do, and he did the right thing. His vote was not very many people would have done it. And when he cast that ballot, he had tears when he thought, well, he knew that might cost him his seat. And next election, they defeated him. And because of that vote, and so there were some people like Robin Hay, and I tended to gravitate toward those people. And I think it was an educational experience, and did the best I could. But I also say that some of the way politics is run, I think it probably gotten worse. See people on television using profanity and doing all kinds of gymnastics to try to cast aspersions of hatred toward the other party. And I may not think that's the way it was designed to be. It's no way up. So, it's a good day and bad thing. And it's been 6 years trying to do it.
Well, Coach, I guess the things that I was thinking more about than anything was it takes a special type of person to devote as much time as you have devoted to others and helping others. I I personally don't think I can ever live up to that, but I'm on a mission to try to help as many people as I can because I think by watching you as an example, I see the value in helping others. It really makes a difference in this world that we live in, even if it's just one person at a time. And I admire that about you as well. So, like I said, you got a serious impact going on with me and a lot of other people that you're not even aware of. And your name is brought up in a lot of conversations that I have with people that I played ball with, people that I just meet around the country, because they'll see me wearing this Nebraska ring or I'll have a Nebraska polo on, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know somebody from Nebraska?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I know a few people." They said, "Man, that Coach Osborne," and then they got nothing but good things to say about you, and it makes me feel good as well because I'm a little protective of you. I know you probably don't need that, but I take it on myself to make sure that people understand that I respect you. And I'm so far I haven't had many people to challenge that. So, I just think it's important, Coach, that you know how appreciated and how loved you are by me and so many others. And that's why, again, I wanted to have you on so that I could publicly make that known. Because 15 years and 6 months ago, you done something for me. And I know you said it was small, but it changed my life. And to this very day, I'm still thankful and I'm still grateful for that letter that you wrote me. I know how you take that, but I have to say it again just so I make sure that it's on record that I said it because it changed my life, Coach.
Thank you again. I guess I'm proud of what you've done with that lawyer and what you've done with your life since. So I appreciate that. You said a lot of nice things about me, and I'm glad that you didn't bring Nancy on the program. It was Nancy would tell them the truth. I'm not that good at God.
Well,
But anyway, I appreciate you upon that. So I appreciate your friendship. Thanks for all you're doing for people because that's very important.
well, Coach, between me and you, I call Nancy the boss because she's
No,
the real boss.
that's right. Right. Well, thank you, your team.
I want
Appreciate it.
everybody to know, man, that I really appreciate you guys tuning in to the show. Again, I'd like for you guys to subscribe to my channel where you'll get notifications. It doesn't cost you anything. You just hit that subscribe button and basically gives you a notification that, hey, I put something else out. But I always wrap my shows up the same way all the time, and I'm going to be no different today. Every day you blessed to see, you got to look like somebody, and you do that for yourself. Again, thank you, Coach.